How you doing, and welcome to Neither Real Music. I'm Ed, and this is Just Play It for the Piano. Today we're going to be looking at part 3 of Alice in Wonderland. If you've been following along, we've already looked at measures 1 through 16. So as we move on to this next section's measures 17 through 24, we're going to be adding in a little more in the way of more precise timing, turning this into more of a waltz kind of feel. Our left hand is going to have a little bit more movement than the first couple of sections of the song, but it should be pretty easy to organize. Before we get started, please remember to subscribe, ring the bell so you know when your next lesson is coming. Let's take a look at measure number 17. So from here, what's happened is we've done our first ending and we've gone back to the beginning of the song. So our main melody is going to kind of be the same basic idea. When we get started, we're going to be doing a lot of similar chords from the previous group, but the movements are going to be new. So in this first measure, 17, we are playing the notes D and G together, and then we're going to play the notes D and F afterwards. So it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3. From here, we're going to jump up to my pinky on G in my left hand and my pinky on G in my right. And then in my left hand, we're going to play the notes B and D. And then on the third time, beat number 3, we add the note F. So let's look at measures 17 and 18. Now when we move into measure 19, we're continuing down with our melody note E. My pinky in my left hand is going to jump to C, and then I'm going to play E and G, and then E, G, and C on beat number 3. So you may not recognize this when you first start playing, but once you start assembling all the pieces together, the waltz aspect of this starts to come out. And for our last one, we're going to put our thumb here on G, and we're going to come up to the notes F, A, and C. So it's F and G together, and then A and C for beats 2 and 3. So let's take a look at that all together. 17, 18, 19, and 20. You notice how once it's played in a continuous fashion, trying to keep the beat as consistent as possible, you really start to notice that waltz mentality. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's something that is a timing thing. Now, if you have trouble getting the timing down, just make sure to verbally count out loud everything that you're doing so that you could start to associate what beat goes to what note. When I do this first one, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, in general, that sounds very disconnected. But each note that you're playing, each part of the chord that you're playing, has a specific beat that it falls on. And this makes it easier to assemble later on as you play it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Just takes time. It's not an easy idea, but it is a simple idea. Bringing it out of the idea of paper and making it physical is what becomes difficult. When we move on to measure 21, we have a fairly easy bass line, but we have this chord building concept in our right hand. So we have the notes B and D, Then we have the notes A, C, and E. Then we go back to the note B and we do B, D, and F. So that's 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. This gives the feeling of kind of building up a little bit of drama because we have 2 notes, then we have 3 notes, then we have 4 notes. So it gets a little bit bigger each time we play it. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Now from here we're going to go to an E major chord, and our pinky is already sitting on the note E, and we're going to play E and E. And then on beat 3, it's G sharp, B, and D. So you can see how moving between these two ideas makes sense. And we get to assemble that all together. This next measure might feel a little weird for your left hand because we're going to play the note E in our right and A in our left. And our waltz notes are going to be lower. So it's going to be the notes E and G. So. Okay? So when we put that together, on beat number 3, we're going to do C, E, and G. It's an A minor 7 chord, but sometimes people find moving their pinky and their ring finger in lockstep a little awkward feeling. This just takes time. You have to practice it to make it so that it becomes comfortable. So as we look at measures 21, 22, and 23, we end up with this idea. So with this next chord, it might feel a little awkward to go to. I'm going to go from E down to E flat with either my pinky or my 4th finger. And in my right hand, I'm going to put my thumb on G. And with my index and my thumb of my left hand, I'm going to play the notes E flat and D flat, making an E flat 7 chord. So as we put these together, we're going to start out with the note B. Now, let's hear what this idea sounds like from beginning to end. Try to remember to practice these ideas at your own pace and not worry about timing too much. Timing comes with experience, and if you find yourself needing a couple of seconds to build the chord and remember what it is, just take it and make the mistake and be happy you made it. But remember that you have a goal. That's why we verbalize our counting. So if we start from the beginning of this section we have. So now what I'm going to do is provide you with an opportunity to practice. First, you're going to get the sheet music. Then you're going to get the synesthesia drop-down bars. Some people find those easier to follow. Then I'm going to show you how the sheet music and the drop-down bars come together. With the final 2 opportunities to practice, there's going to be no playing along. So you're just going to get the sheet music or you're just going to get the drop-down bars so that you could have something to practice along to make sure your timing is working out. So now let's check this out with the sheet music. 1, 2, 3. Now let's take a look at this with our drop-down bars. 1, 2, 3. Next, we are going to look at it with the sheet music and the drop-down bars together. 1, 2, 3. As I mentioned earlier, our last two practices are going to be play-alongs. So first you're going to get just the sheet music. 1, 2, 3. Now try it with the drop-down bars. 1, 2, 3. I really hope lessons like this are helping you become a better player. This version of the song is a little bit more difficult than the first 16 bars because we focus a little bit more on how to keep our timing going. As far as I'm concerned, you really should never play two things the same way twice. So since this song has two endings and we have two opportunities to play the beginning parts, it's good to provide something different. Now, for those of you who are a little bit more proficient, you could feel free to mix some of the ideas from the first section in with some of the ideas from the second section. So the first measures 1 through 16 can be mixed with measures 17 through 24. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. Compliments are nice, but questions let me know that you're working on these things. If you have an opportunity, please visit my Patreon page. Even a donation as simple as $1 could really help me find more time to make content like this for you to practice along to. Please remember to subscribe, ring that bell so you know when your next lesson happens. Good luck and good practice.